Have you noticed this thing which like the BJP does where they'll introduce this like catchy Hindi phrase every year or something to keep the public involved, right? So
Atmanirbhar.
when they came, they were like Swachh Bharat, and then they were like Atmanirbhar, and now in the budget they were like Amrit Kal to get all the like 45-year-old uncles just cheering and just
Oh, the worst part is I don't know if this was probably not a countrywide thing, but in Mumbai they started this whole Majhi Vasundhara campaign. Bro, I this is such a slander of my name. I feel like I should sue them in court or something. I mean, there are people out there, and they've literally drawn this on every wall. It says Majhi Vasundhara on every wall, and freaking rickshawalas are spitting on it, thooking pal on it and stuff. It's just so disrespectful. Like, bro,
Majhi
think about
Vasundhara is what Vasundhara's boyfriend calls her immediately after he asks Jevliska.
We're the not so angry environmentalists.
Hello, hello. Welcome to Not So Angry Environmentalists presented by URVAR, where we take up issues related to the environment and discuss them rationally. The environmental community is pretty hostile right now, and this is our attempt to be more inclusive in the journey to fight climate change. And joining me is Vasundhara Gupte, co-founder of URVAR. Say hi, Vasu.
hi. You sound very cheery today.
Yes, because we're discussing my favorite topic, the Union Budget of India.
Why am I not surprised? You're always most excited about the topics for which I have to go through like 3 days of research and bury myself in legal terms and whatnot.
Are you calling me boring?
Not my words.
Ouch! Anyway, we are going to discuss the union budget in India and how it affects the environment. Yes, someone is finally speaking about the union budget without speaking about the 40% crypto tax stupidity. We don't care, okay? But yeah. What did you think about the budget? Did you think it was a good budget?
I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. Do you want me to rate it like a 3.5 out of 5 star? No, but I mean, if you're asking me environment from an environment perspective, if it made sense, definitely not. They could have done like way, way, way better. It was pretty bad.
Hmm. Why? I mean, I thought it was pretty good because a lot of environmental terms were used and like significantly more than all the other budgets. So, like Nirmala Sitharaman mentioned net zero, energy transition, carbon intensity, green bond, circular economy. She mentioned all those terms and like I thought it was pretty great.
I don't know. I feel like, her speech was so, I mean, adorned with all these terms, but classic example of all talk, no action, I'd say. For example, like you said, climate action, energy transition. So many terms were thrown in, but we didn't see any of that in the actual allocation.
She did introduce production linked incentives for the manufacture of high efficiency solar PV modules, right? And she allocated like an additional 19,500 rupees for that. So that was a pretty great step. Another pretty great step was 5 to 7% biomass pellets to be introduced in thermal power plants, resulting in CO2 savings of 38 MMT annually. And like this will also like avoid the slash and burn practice. So I think it will have a positive effect.
Mhm. Some of it for sure. So, for example, the PLI thing, production linked incentive, it caught my eye too because that seemed like a pretty great proposition. But here comes the plot twist. You cannot expect Indian government to be so generous, right? Apparently, they also recently announced an increase in goods and service tax (GST) for critical components of solar projects from, wait for it, 5 to 12%. You do not just increase a GST from like 5 to 12%. So I'm pretty sure that is meant to like compensate for their generous, allocation towards a solar-based future.
Yeah. No, that's depressing. But here, but like I feel like people are trying to find faults because she also mentioned ease of doing business, right? And ease of doing business, every country has to balance between workers' rights and environmental issues and ease of doing business because they're usually opposite to each other, and you have to find a balance for your country to develop while also being not evil. Oh, everyone said that because she mentioned ease of doing business so much, it means that there'll be hastened environmental clearances and it will like dilute environmental regulation. But I looked into the steps taken for that, and one of the steps taken is the introduction of Parivesh. Now, what Parivesh is it's a single window for all green clearances, which was launched in 2018, and it has reduced like the hassle of going through approvals. So you had to fill 4 forms previously. Now you can fill all those 4 forms via Parivesh. So again, single window. You don't have to go here, go there, do the entire thing. So I feel like they're just making it easier for the user or the businessman to apply for these while still keeping the regulations required.
And I think that is where the problem is, because we are talking about projects like, for example, our RA forest was something that would have to. This is basically environmental impact assessment, right? Which I have tons of problem with. India's environment impact assessment laws are complete bullshit. These are the kind of projects. Navi Mumbai Airport, for example, was something that had to go through Parivesh and it has to go through all these steps. And the reason that these laws are there because it is our only safeguard for environmental conservation. That is why this process has been made so tedious. If you have to cut down, let's say, I don't know, 1 million trees, the process needs to be complicated. The process needs to be long and very judiciously monitored and regulated, because we're talking about 1 million trees here. In most of these projects that I have a list of here, it's more than 1 million trees, and these projects are being approved left and right, zero regulation. They're just they have to go to one app and it's done, which I feel is not right. And definitely, I feel like we're going in the opposite direction. If anything, I feel like they should make the laws stricter. And for me, the whole ease of doing business thing, it's just like it feels like an open invitation to like businessmen, investors, corporations from all over the world to come. Yo, India is like a chill place for you to invest in and do business in. We are not going to stop you. So
I get that. And oh, actually, like, do you know about this whole OCs of buildings thing? So there are a bunch of buildings in Navi Mumbai, right? In the like Palm Beach area, and they don't have their OC yet. Now, what OC is
objection certificate. Yeah.
correct. It's objection certificate. And basically, why these buildings don't have it is because they've cleared mangroves to like build those buildings there. I was discussing with my dad, who was pretty pissed because like he has a flat in one of those buildings, and I was like, "Why are you pissed? It's right if they're not giving you this certificate if they've cleared mangroves." And he was like, no, this is not even morally correct because they should have stopped the construction before it started. What is the point of objecting to the goddamn building being built if the mangroves have already been cleared? You know?
Exactly my point. This is exactly what is happening, right? Because these people now, for example, if our EIA laws were stricter, if the whole ease of business thing was not in the picture, they would have to go through like a million question, like a proper questionnaire, and they would be answerable for every little thing. Displacement of people, biodiversity, how it is affecting the biodiversity, what will be the near future impact, what will be the long term impact. There's tons of stuff involved in this, and these people will be answerable to every one of these things. It's a very long, tedious process, as it should be. But because of the whole ease of business doing thing, it's just kind of well, we made it easy for you. Now you don't need to go through all of the hassle. And that is what these people are taking advantage of because, well, we're Indians. Or, well, that's just, I think, corporations. Anyways, something similar happened with RA Forest. They did not get the clearance. But sometime when everybody was sleeping, this is literally what happened, if you'll remember. I think dead of the night, they just went and
Yeah,
started cutting the
yeah,
trees down.
I know.
So that was so, I mean, because what can you do, right? They'll probably get penalized in court or they'll just pay it off or whatever. But now what is done is done. The trees are cut down. It'll take years for them to grow back. So
That
this is why,
sucked, man. That was like super bad. They behaved like criminals at that time, sneaky in the dead of the night. That was super bad. Hmm.
exactly. And this is why I feel like we as people, I mean, we're greedy. We do not deserve have business made easier than it already is. I think we need
Okay.
to focus more on improving environmental governance rather than making it just worse or easier.
Hmm. Huh. So I understand that, but there was also like one more good thing about the budget was that it mentioned clean and sustainable mobility, and it mentioned special mobility zones with zero fossil fuel policy, and it also mentioned like a battery swapping policy.
Well, actually, this is something I was kind of intrigued by because, well, it sort of brings into picture the whole air pollution thing, which I need to talk about. Remind me later. But did you realize that they didn't actually provide any further details about this? I mean, there was no financial allocation made about this, what they're going to do, what the transition entails. And, well, I mean, honestly, which is again the same classic all talk, no action, because this was something I was actually interested in. EV, India, nice. This is going somewhere. And then they went on to mention like nothing. Besides, I also have like my personal beef with electronic vehicles. I mean, are they even sustainable? Lithium batteries, come on. We are mining lithium, disposing these batteries, not a very sustainable process. Anyways, we'll probably have another episode about that.
Yeah, I actually understand the thing which you are saying about like are EVs even sustainable? Because if you are charging them by electricity, which is sourced by burning fossil fuels, then isn't it the same as using fossil fuels? But yeah, as we said, we'll discuss that at length in another episode. And I also kind of agree with the like no figures were mentioned thing because I read about promoting scientific organic agriculture in Northeast India, right, which was mentioned in the budget, but only 45 crores were allocated to it, which seems like a very less amount. Anyway, you were going to say something about the air pollution, right?
Oh, yes. So, as we know, air pollution is probably one of the biggest problems in India right now. Delhi, I'm looking at you. But no, just kidding. Mumbai's air quality is nothing to brag about either. But did you know that they actually made cuts to the air pollution budget this time? Which is
For real? Oh no.
Yeah, so basically, well, forget about making extra commitment to air pollution mitigation. They actually, I think I have the figures here somewhere. Yep. Commission on Air Quality Management for National Capital and adjoining area has been allocated 17 crores as opposed to 20 crores last year. But the biggest cut was made in the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwal Yojana, or the LPG subsidy as we know it. Um, which is one of the flagship air pollution mitigation programs that India has right now. Well, it was allocated only 4,000 crores as compared to last year when they had 12,000, which is like a big cut.
Oh, they made it
So,
like one third. Bruh.
yeah.
But like, okay, I was going to say that I understand the subsidy cut because for 2 years the government has been asking people to willingly give up their subsidies, the like people of higher socioeconomic background. And I think my family has also given up the subsidy after you get gas pipelines, right? I don't think it's worth a like reduction where you cut it down to one third. So
Mhm.
Sucks.
And as much as I understand that, but they should also like focus on strengthening the other, I don't know, there's tons of policies and stuff they could have allocated funds to. But again, like I said, even the NCAP,
Yeah.
they made cuts to all of that. So I feel like there was just an overall decrease in, India's air pollution regulation. Which oh wait, I have another stat here. The allocation to CPCB, which is Central Pollution Control Board, has remained flat at rupees 100 crores for the last 2 years, for the last two budgets. And while the government of India has spent a whopping rupees 713.2 crore on print, electronic, and outdoor advertisement in.
Surprising that the government is spending money on advertising. Of course, so surprising that our prime minister is printing his own face on vaccine certificates. By the way, have you noticed this thing which like the BJP does where they'll introduce this like catchy Hindi phrase every year or something to keep the public involved, right? So
Atmanirbhar.
when they came, they were like Swachh Bharat, and then they were like Atmanirbhar, and now in the budget they were like Amrit Kal to get all the like 45-year-old uncles just cheering and just
Oh, the worst part is I don't know if this was probably not a countrywide thing, but in Mumbai they started this whole Majhi Vasundhara campaign. Bro, this is such a slander of my name. I feel like I should sue them in court or something. I mean, there are people out there, and they've literally drawn this on every wall. It says Majhi Vasundhara on every wall, and freaking rickshawalas are spitting on it, cooking pal on it and stuff. It's just so disrespectful. Like, bro,
Majhi
think about.
Vasundhara is what Vasundhara's boyfriend calls her immediately after he asks Jevliska.
You're only making it worse, bro.
But pointing out another good thing about the budget is like they introduced the concept of green bonds, right? Now, what green bonds are fixed income financial instruments which are used to fund projects that have positive environmental and or climate benefits. So they're basically like regular bonds, except the money raised is used exclusively to fund projects that have a positive environmental impact. So
Mhm.
I thought that was a pretty great thing. And they also introduced like chemical free farming, chemical free natural farming. And they're going to start it with like started at first at 5 kilometer wide corridors along the Ganga. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I actually think that's pretty interesting. Maybe I should look that up. Like, is that happening worldwide, green bonds and stuff? Anyways, that is for another episode. But since you brought up, Ganga, let's talk about river linking because apparently the very controversial Kane Betwa project has been allocated 44,605 crores, which I feel like from all the figures that we talked about, I feel like this is more than all of that total. But do not count on my math. Anyways, so what river linking basically is that they're planning to link a ton of Indian rivers through canals and stuff like that, whatever you link rivers with, which, as experts say, is very disastrous for the environment, not something they recommend for sure. Because, first of all, it leads to mass displacement. And India does not have great statistics when it comes to mass displacement. Apparently, according to a recent report, India has the highest level of disaster displacement in South Asia and also one of the highest in the world. And the Godavari Krishna project itself, which is a part of the Ken Betwa project, could displace almost 1.5 million people due to like submergence of like a lot of land, 26.66 hectares to be specific.
Oh, wow. But isn't the Kane Betwa project, isn't it going to produce 103 megawatts of hydropower?
Yeah, it is. And while I feel like that is a good step in, renewable, in the direction of renewable energy, well, if you consider all of the like harmful impacts, the impact on biodiversity, for example, the local ecosystems, climate, displacement of God knows how many millions of people and stuff like that, I feel like it far outweighs the benefits. I
Hmm.
feel like there's more sustainable ways to go about it, which we could if the budget was allocating more to. Oh, speaking of which, did you know how much the biodiversity budget is today? Wait, let me get the figure. Apparently, they have allocated 8.5 crores for biodiversity conservation, which is like what? 10 rupees. Oh, wait, by the way, it's 3.5 crore less than the previous year. This is
Bro.
just hilarious. They literally went from like 15 rupees to 10 rupees. Ooh,
Oh no, this is depressing, man. I genuinely thought the budget this year was good, and you've just ruined my perspective now with all your details. It is really important to have a green budget, right? Because even in the economic survey this year, the government's principal economic advisor, who is Sanjeev Sanyal, lists climate change as one of the most important risks to our country's economy. So it's not even if you are like, okay, environment and all is important, but economy is also important, then also you should be concerned about this, right? Because the thing is, I don't think we realize it because in Japan and all, there is tsunami. So it's very clear that climate is affecting them. But in India, it's like slow famine and all. So we're like, ho raha hai, chalne do. But do you know any like actual green budgets by other countries?
I'm not very sure though, but I've heard like Sweden, Japan, Norway, Germany, they have pretty good union budgets when it comes to the environment.
Of course.
But
But
that
the
is something.
Scandinavian nations beating us as every goddamn thing. Maybe like their prisons are like five-star hotel, and when the person comes out, he's completely rehabbed. Their education, 5-year-olds can type faster than you. I hate Scandinavian countries. Goddamn hate them.
I was just that day looking at the happiness index of countries and stuff, and apparently Bhutan invented the happiness index, right? But guess who is at the top of every happiness index?
Is it
In
Norway
the
or something?
Yeah. All Scandinavian nations actually.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I hate them. Hate them with all my heart. If I see a
Well,
Norwegian, I'll be like, I hope you know that you're going to die. Everyone you love is going to die.
but you know what? This reminded me of something my professor just recently said. But this reminded me of something my professor said earlier this week. So he basically said that a wealthy nation is only possible with a healthy biodiversity. And it just makes so much sense, right? Because I was just looking at the biodiversity stats. And well, we already made fun of the 8.5 crore allocation, but apparently the National Biodiversity Authority's allocation has also been reduced from 19.5 to 17.5 crores. So, I mean, we're literally walking in the opposite direction. But, anyways, biodiversity is something that even in economics term, because I'm an economics major, I'm not the person who's going to be like stop development and just focus on, I don't know, conserving the environment. But even in like economic sense of it, there's tons of bioresources. For example, the food we eat, medicines, cosmetics, these are all important assets in manufacturing sectors like pharmaceuticals or like medicine sector, which is pharmaceuticals, right? Anyways, yeah. But like biotechnology, cosmetics. So if we like really invest into this, it could prove very beneficial for the GDP, which is what I'm pretty sure we're running after. So this is a connection. The wealthy nation is only possible with healthy biodiversity. It is a connection that our economy.
And that is why Modi ji Modi ji, listen to me. I'm your biggest fan. Next year, I hope your catchy term for the budget is URVAR Bharat or something, which focuses us on climate, not just in like the fancy terms, but also in fancier figures. That is,
Is that an Urvari plug?
Modi ji, if you have a subtle Urvari plug in your budget, I swear to God, next 25-year whole Amrit Kal, I will give vote to BJP. From Canada, I will come to India, make voter ID. I think I already have a voter ID. Have my voter ID and vote for BJP. Kamal. Kamal is also a flower, which is also nature, which is also Urvari. I'm telling you, you're.
No, this is just getting very lame. I think we should end it.
And on that note, yeah. And on that note, tune in next week. Suggest us topics, leave comments, tell us how you feel about this. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter. Follow Urvari UAE on Instagram. The links to everything I will put in the description. I haven't yet, sorry, Anna. On that note, actually, do you know Don't Look Up got nominated for Best Picture? Thoughts about that?
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like that's just going to antagonize everyone because clearly
I mean, it was a good
uh,
movie, but it wasn't worth an Oscar
Oscar,
nomination.
exactly. And everyone's just like, what a shitty movie. Definitely does not deserve an Oscar. Okay, first of all, Tick Tick Boom did not get an Oscar nomination and Don't Look Up did. So I am pissed.
Yeah,
And I did an entire podcast about the movie. So that was a bad decision. It's just going to antagonize everyone.
I know. I agree. And on that note, bye, guys. Say bye, Vasu.
For real. Bye.